Here's what's coming up tonight on Now. A fallen Maine soldier returns home.
How young is too young to play tackle football? Armed with new research about concussions, Maine lawmakers are considering setting a minimum age for tackle football in the state.
And a new effort to get pet parents to pick up after their dogs is creating quite the buzz on social media. This is News Center Now. Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us. I'm Lindsay Mills.
And I'm Lee Nelson. We'll begin with some quick local headlines to get us started this evening, beginning with a hearing to determine if a teenager accused of killing his grandma last year will be tried as an adult. The teen was 16 when Beulah Marie Sylvester of Bodenham was killed. This is back in February of last year. She served as the teen's guardian. Court documents show that he told detectives that he hit Sylvester in the head with a stick.
Tyler Tibbetts, charged with stealing a Dexter police cruiser while handcuffed, then leading police on a high-speed chase, pleaded guilty in court today. Tibbetts was indicted on nearly a dozen charges, including theft, driving to endanger, and reckless conduct with a dangerous weapon. Tibbetts was sentenced to 10 years with all but 5 suspended. A woman from Waterford is under arrest after an 8-hour standoff with authorities.
Now, the Oxford County Sheriff's Office arrested Sherry Lynn Drew this morning. They rushed over to a house on Valley Road last night for a domestic violence call involving a married couple, and they'd been told that one of them was armed. Negotiators worked for hours to get Drew to surrender. She was eventually taken into custody and locked up at the Oxford County Jail. She is facing a felony that charges criminal threatening with a dangerous weapon. A judge has granted Ayla Reynolds' mom an extension to file a wrongful death lawsuit against the toddler's father, Justin DePietro.
Ayla was 20 months old when she went missing back in 2011. Since then, her mother, Trista Reynolds, has been fighting for answers. Her attorney tells the Associated Press that he plans to publish a legal notice in the Morning Sentinel newspaper since they have exhausted all other efforts to find DePietro. Reynolds has 60 days to publish that notice and then leave a copy of the complaint at DePietro's last known address in California. The body of a Westbrook airman killed over the weekend in Arkansas is making its way back to Maine.
Sean McCoe was trying to stop an armed robbery at a North Little Rock convenience store back on Friday night when police say he was shot and killed. Our Sam York is live in Portland this evening. Sam, when should he be arriving?
Well, Lee and Lindsay, his body should be arriving here at the Jones, Rich and Barnes Funeral Home in about an hour or so. There's actually a police escort coming from Logan Airport as we speak, and at last check, they had just crossed over the New Hampshire border. So we did speak with the funeral director. His family should be arriving with his body. They are okay with us being here this evening. Yesterday, I sat down with McCoe's girlfriend, Sarah Toronto, who was there the night he was murdered. And as you can imagine, this has been devastating to her and Sean's entire family. But they say that's who Sean was. He was born to protect others. And if he had survived, he would do it all over again. McCoe has been recognized by many for his sacrifice, even by Maine's own Senator Susan Collins, tweeting earlier, Senior Airman Sean McCoe Jr. from Westbrook lost his life protecting the lives of innocent people. Maine is incredibly proud of his selfless act of bravery and for his dedicated service to our country as a member of the Air Force. My heart goes out to his family and friends. The funeral director also tells us he believes Portland and Westbrook police and fire departments will be escorting his body here in Portland. We'll have much more on his arrival coming up on News Center at 6. Lee and Lindsay.
All righty, Sam, thank you very much.
A bit breezy out there today, but it was nice. I took the opportunity to get out there for that story.
Yeah, good.
Keith knows I'm a weather optimist.
You are. Yeah, she is. It doesn't take much to make her happy in the we're kind of rolling towards spring. We do have a nasty little storm, though, tonight and tomorrow, so don't get too comfortable. High temperature 45 today in Portland, 45 in Lewiston, 47 in Bangor. The breeze as the storm starts to kind of move in from the mid-Atlantic. I'll show you that in a second. Clouds have thickened over the past couple of hours and a lot of overcast down over southern Maine. Here are the showers starting to move into parts of New Hampshire. You can see and Vermont, as well as a mixture of rain and snow. Here's the bigger picture, though. This system pretty well developed with the center of circulation just to the east of Washington, D.C. This particular setup in the middle of winter would mean that we're looking at a pretty big snowstorm. And some of the mountains are, but because it's this time of the year and it's a little bit west, we'll be looking at a lot of rain mixing in as well. So overnight tonight, clouds thicken. Nothing big really happens till after midnight. That's when the rain starts moving in along the coastline, but it's close. Look where that rain snow line is, and so if you're just inland here, by tomorrow morning there'll be some snowflakes, wet snowflakes mixed in with the rain. Rain snow line, though, eventually pushes well into the foothills and eventually into the mountains by tomorrow afternoon before kind of lashing back on Saturday as the storm moves out. So we're going to have a variety of precipitation types at different times during this storm. We'll break down that timing, and guys, we do have a snowfall map as well, which is just what you want to hear on the first full day of spring.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not going to look.
I think that's how it works. It just goes away.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, if you ignore it, eventually it just goes away.
Well, due to tomorrow's storm, the U.S. Coast Guard started the ice-breaking process along the Kennebec River today, 4 days early.
Yeah, the Coast Guard sent its 2 ice cutters, the Thunder Bay and the Shackle. The people are being asked to remove all ice fishing shacks from the Kennebec as soon as you can. There is a real potential for flooding. Officials say the ice breaking creates a channel to allow the ice to flow out into the ocean. The process usually takes a few days. How young is too young to play tackle football? Maine lawmakers are looking at that right now. They're considering setting a minimum age to play.
Right now, kids in elementary school can play in many parts of the state, but a recent study at Boston University determined kids who play before the age of 12 have more behavioral and cognitive problems later in life than those who started playing after age 12. A legislative committee heard testimony on this yesterday, and both the Maine Principals Association and the Maine Athletic Trainers Associations are in favor of setting a minimum age. In fact, no one spoke out against that idea yesterday, so we want to know what you guys think. Should there be a minimum age for tackle football in Maine?
Yeah, you can weigh in on our Pulse poll. Head to pulse.newscentermaine.com. We're going to have a final look near the end of the show. So a lot of people know my son played all the way up through college, and he started playing before 12. And but knowing what I know now, I might have held him back. I really might have. So
I mean, enrollment or sign-ups rather for youth football have just plummeted over the years. You have to wonder, what sports are they playing instead?
Yes, and also there is a move toward flag football.
Sure.
Also, which I think is good because it teaches the kids how to play the game. They just don't have to hit each other quite so hard until they're a little bit older, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, because like the enrollment in soccer, I think, is way up in a lot of communities and other fall sports too. So it's interesting.
Something to consider.
Yeah. So weigh in. All right, coming up on Now, we will check in with Jackie Mundry. She's traveling with the UMaine women's basketball team down in North Carolina, of course, for the NCAA tournament.
Very exciting. And next, you'll hear from NBC senior national correspondent Kate Snow about a story she did on Maine's fentanyl crisis. You may have noticed a familiar place if you were watching the Today Show this morning. Portland, Maine. NBC national correspondent Kate Snow took a recent trip to Maine to talk about fighting on the front lines of the fentanyl crisis. Kate, you are a Maine native yourself, so it was probably nice to be home, but on difficult circumstances. We want to know...
Yeah, I was born in Maine, actually.
We want to know, Bobby's story really seemed to cause you to become emotional. Why was that?
Yeah, Bobby Sheehan is a young man who's a peer counselor at Milestone Recovery downtown in Portland. I met him a few weeks ago. You know, he's this big, strong guy, and when you see him, you don't realize how emotional he is. And so it really struck me when he started crying about his recovery and about the support that he found and the love that he found at Milestone. He's now a peer counselor there. He's been sober for a while. He's doing great. But he is one of those rare success stories, which I wish I could tell more often, you know, about getting through substance abuse and getting out the other side. So he wanted to talk to us to inspire others, and I can tell you he did just that. My social media is full of people from all over the country who are responding to Bobby from Portland.
You've been covering substance abuse and addiction for years. When you came to Maine, was there anything that surprised you about the fentanyl crisis?
Oh yeah, I had not realized how big the fentanyl problem was in Portland. The last time I was in Portland was a few years ago for a story about heroin, and going back there just last month and seeing what fentanyl is doing to your community is astounding. I was in Scarborough for a while. I was talking to Chief Robert Moulton out there, who, as you probably know, has this open door policy. They have Operation Hope going in Scarborough, where anybody can walk in to the police station, no questions asked, turn in their drugs and get help and get into some kind of detox or recovery program. That is huge. That's not happening everywhere in the country. They're actually a model. The chief told me they're getting calls from all over the place wanting to replicate what you're doing.
What more do you think could be done fighting the fentanyl crisis?
Wow, I wish I had all the answers. I can tell you what I've seen around the country that's working. For example, Dayton, Ohio, and that area, they're doing things with peer mentors where they're pairing, say, a parent who might be about to lose their children and the custody of their children because they have a substance abuse problem. They're pairing them with peer mentors, people who've been through, people like Bobby who've come out the other side. And those mentors in communities where that's happening seem to be really making a difference because it's relatable. You know, people can latch onto that and think, all right, if they can do it, I can do it too. So that's one small thing that I'm seeing that's working.
Kate, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it. Kate Snow, NBC News national correspondent, thank you so much. And tonight, tune in to Nightly News this evening. More continuing coverage on the fentanyl crisis. And we'll be right back.
So the park is a great place to play capture the flag, right?
But at one park in South Portland, there are hundreds of flags, ones you definitely want to dodge. At South Portland's Hinckley Park.
I personally am a dog lover myself.
It's no walk in the park for April Bolstridge, even though signage marks the don'ts and do-dos at the park.
Be respectful of everybody using it.
There are rule breakers.
This idea came up and it had been effective in other places, so I thought, you know, what the heck, let's give it a try.
This park ranger takes lawn enforcement seriously. Instead of barking up the wrong tree, she kept her efforts on the ground.
Visually, you can really see, you know, how much impact it can have over time.
Bolstridge says it's not that she has a bone to pick with anyone, it's because pet waste contamination is a serious issue.
As soon as the spring melt really gets fully underway, you will see a lot of that washing right into our water sources.
Pet waste contains bacteria that threaten the health of animals and people, especially children, Bolstridge wrote in a Facebook post. With thousands of views and counting, her video shows a field of red flags, one to mark every pile of dog waste. She didn't have to go very far. Near the two entrances alone, 300 flags. Some have asked, if you're going to spend the time, why not pick it up?
Doing that would enable people to just continue with their actions in the same way.
And with rain on the way, no diggity, you gotta bag it up. So a cleanup is being held at the park on April 20th in the morning hours for what park officials are calling April Stools Day.
Ooh. Yeah. And I volunteer Keith Carson as head stool remover.
I had a gift the other day of like walking around Portland. I said, this is all the dog poop over the last 3 months, and it was like a vampire coming out of a coffin. You know, like everybody thought like nobody's ever going to see this. Oh wait, there it is. The snow melted, and
it doesn't go away.
Hopefully it's cold and hard and easier to get out.
I guess so. I'm pretty good with that as a dog owner. Like you gotta get it done.
It's good karma.
It is. I think so. You know. All right, so spring continues to roll. I will say that it's going to be a little bit nasty tomorrow, and we've been on such a nice stretch of weather. We haven't had any big rain or snowstorms, so tomorrow will be a little bit of a change from that. Temperatures in the mid and upper 40s. Freiburg at 48 today, 47 in Waterville. Temperatures have been consistently mild here. Satellite, though, showing you clouds increasing from southwest to northeast and thickening up over southern and western Maine as our next storm system approaches. Here it is, as I mentioned, you know, if this was the middle of the winter, even late February, this would be a good position for a storm here over the mid-Atlantic and then moving out into the Gulf of Maine as it's going to. But this time of the year, you need things to really fall into place to have a major statewide snowstorm. And so there will be snow with this storm, but it won't be a big deal in most spots. because of the time of the year and the track of the storm. That being said, by tomorrow morning, you can see where that rain-snow line is, and it's not that far inland. And some of this snow will be hard to accumulate, but as you get into Lewiston and Augusta, temperatures should be around 32, 33. That'll be enough to see snow accumulate there, Freiburg particularly. And then as we head until late morning, that rain-snow line creeps its way slowly towards Augusta and Lewiston. And then by the middle of the day into the afternoon, it gets there, gets into the foothills, gets into the mountains probably even briefly, as all rain here late in the day. So anything that's fallen here has washed away. Backside of the storm comes through on Saturday. We crash a little cold air to the coast on Saturday morning, so a couple of flakes there, and then end as snow in the mountains through much of the day on Saturday before clearing out on Saturday afternoon. Sunday, by the way, looks really nice. Temperatures in the upper 40s, and we'll call it partly cloudy, even some low 50s a possibility. So a split weekend. Here's what we're thinking: a coating to an inch in the shaded green area, and then as you get to the north and west of Lewiston, 1 to 3 inches, 3 to 6. I wouldn't be shocked if some of the high terrain comes in at 6 to 8, but it's kind of hard to make a map for that, as much as the peaks will be a little bit over 6 inches, but they'll also see a little rain, so it'll be really wet stuff. Winds will be strong. They should be just low enough, though, that we're not going to see major power outages or anything like that, but they will be pushing a little water on shore there at the beginning, so watch out for some localized flooding along the coastline. Wind gusts up to 40 miles an hour here through Friday afternoon, and then it stays breezy during the day on Saturday. So if you want to get out to the mountains and you're thinking about snow, fine, but there probably will be some wind holds there as well. Rainfall amounts around an inch. So guys, that's right on the threshold of, it's going to be messy for sure, because of, you still get a little snow in a lot of places, and you put rain on top of that. And then should be quiet the next couple of days after that, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I don't see anything big going on, so we continue to just slowly eke our way towards spring with no major hiccups so far.
That's kind of the way you want it, too.
It
kind
is.
of the slow melt, the slow...
Not usually how it happens.
Right, right.
So far, so good.
All right, good. Keith, thanks very much.
The Maine women's basketball team is off to its second consecutive NCAA tournament. The women arrived in Raleigh, North Carolina earlier this afternoon.
And Jackie Mundry arrived there, too. She's with the team. She joins us now from the campus of North Carolina State. Hey, Jackie.
Hey, Lee and Lindsay, we made it to Raleigh. I'm at the site of the big game. Right here behind me is the Reynolds Coliseum on the campus of North Carolina State University. On my way here, I talked to the team about this year's accomplishments, as well as what it's like to be back at their second consecutive NCAA tournament. And of course, the players had some fun.
What's your favorite memory of this season so far?
Probably our win at UNC.
Tell us about the team.
We're just a big family, all of us, and we're all friends, and it's always a lot of fun every day.
If you could live anywhere in the world, where would you live and why?
Van Buren, Maine.
Okay, nope, next person.
No surprise, Parise Rossignol gave a shout out to the county, and Maeve Carroll had a blast doing my job. Coming up on News Center at 6, though, we'll talk about being back here at the NCAA tournament and what they're looking to do. For now, I'm live in Raleigh. Lee and Lindsay, back to you guys.
All right, sounds good. I know they're looking to win, but they're probably looking to do other stuff, too. Thank you, Jackie, very much. All right, so raise your hand if you like to dress up your pet. You do?
Yeah, definitely.
It makes me feel weird, so I'm not going to raise my hand.
We do the little guy, Tito.
Right.
It's a small dog thing. Well, if you do, you're probably a fan of the Cadbury Easter Bunny ads because they feature, well, other types of animals dressed up as bunnies. And this is a competition to determine what creature will be the next star of those ads. Henry, the wrinkly English bulldog, is the winner. Of course he is. Look at that face. Look at those rolls. He beat 4,000 other contestants, including other dogs, cats, a horse, a llama, and even a gecko. And then you'll see Henry and all those wrinkles in the new Cadbury ads starting next month.
So do you think that animals feel embarrassed when they're dressed up like that, or do they really just not care?
I wonder. I think there is a little level of feeling ashamed.
Right. I think if they see their friends, they would not be happy wearing that outfit. Well, he's going to get paid, so he's fine.
Exactly.
But
He's
I'm not sure about
laughing all
your
the way
pet.
to the bank. No, yeah, it's all right.
Right, it is. All right, it's time to check in with Cindy, see what's coming up on News Center at 5:30. Hey, Cindy.
Hi, guys. We can only kind of tease about this story because everybody's okay, but think Tom Sawyer. Only the two kids who found themselves floating down this river in Maine were not on a raft, and they surely did not intend to be out in the middle of the river. We'll explain exactly what happened. Plus, one man moves in to help a moose that he thinks is injured, only it wasn't. And yeah, we did have to bleep that video, just so you know. Those stories and more ahead at 5:30. Back to you.
What a scare to think.
Can't wait to see that.
I know. Think he's just sitting there, and nope, he's not. Stick with us. Brain drops when we come back. One last check of our Pulse poll tonight. 72% of you saying yes, there should be some sort of age restriction when it comes to playing tackle football in Maine. Thanks, guys, for voting. We appreciate it. All right.
I don't think Luke is going to be a football player.
You don't think so?
I don't know. He's a peanut right now, so he'd have to be a kicker or something. All right, let's take a look at this. This is just a pretty one today. This is along Lake Michigan. Some ice shards starting to show up there. Lake Michigan, I believe, has about 50-something% frozen. Pretty. And so what happens is, as the water starts to move around a little more freely near these ice shards, or near the ice, it gets under the ice and starts breaking it from beneath. So it's like hitting it with your hand over and over again. And so you end up with these really cool visuals. You know, you can get this in Maine, you can get an ice shove, for example, but we don't have any bodies of water that are so big that you get the wave action you get on Lake Michigan. As you know, you go to parts of Lake Michigan and Lake Huron and you think you're in the ocean.
Definitely.
So it has to do with how much wave action you can get. And it's just really pretty. I've never seen them so clear as they are here. But that's because it wasn't an overly snowy period, so you didn't have snow cover on top of it. But
it's
the
so
cool stuff.
Beautiful.
That's
the textures that it creates for these photos.
Yeah, and of course there was a warning not to go out on this. I don't know who the heck would think that you could go out on this, but yeah. So that lake is about, like I said, about 60% frozen. Some of the Great Lakes go years without freezing because there's just so much water and so much wave action. So
first time I saw Lake Michigan, I seriously was blown away. First of all, that I couldn't see the other side of it. And the waves. I mean, they're surfable, sizable waves.
It's pretty legit, and that's why we talked about, like, Lake Huron, for example, has a ton of shipwrecks. You don't think of lakes as having shipwrecks, but it was nasty enough that a lot of times back in the old days, they didn't know where the heck they were, and they would end up crashing. I don't know if we have time for a snowfall map, do we? If we do, let's go to Max 1. If we don't, all right, okay, there we go. This is what we're thinking about for tonight into tomorrow and Saturday as well. Coating to an inch. I just want people on the coastline to know that we will see some flakes mixing in, so I don't want you to be shocked by that, but the accumulating snow will be to the west and northwest, and then the mountains 3 to 6, some higher terrain of 6 to 8, but just kind of a nasty day tomorrow.
Can't put the snow boots away just yet.
No.
All right, Keith, thanks. News Center Maine at 5:30 starts right now.